That's a Postaward. Mary Craft, thank you for presenting.
Sure, Jill. Thank you for inviting us. Um, so I'm going to talk about the Post Award and compliance. We're really not the most loved individuals because we're the ones that have to tell you, oh, I'm sorry. So forgive us in advance. Okay. You can see my PowerPoint.
Yep, we can.
Great, thank you. So let's start with Post Award is congratulations, you received your notice of award. That's usually for the major federal sponsors, those come through to SPS, but occasionally some go directly to the PI. Please make sure you direct those notices of awards if you receive them to your agreement administrator. And similar to Jeff, I'm speaking about this in our current structure, not future structure. So once you received our notice of award, our team will review it and ensure that they understand the terms and conditions if they're different than the standards. And they'll identify what those are and actually speak to or share with the PIs anything that they need to know. But as a PI, you really want to take a look at those notices of awards as well and ensure that you have an understanding about what your requirements are, when the funds come in, how much funding you get, what is deliverables for reporting, and ensure that you're completing those reports as required because that's compliance and a term and condition of acceptance of the award. So you received your notice of award and we're going to establish an account. We have a team of folks that know our business system that work with it. It's a very old system, so it does have some bugs and it takes time for them to actually get those awards into the system. And if they're complex awards, then it takes more time. Upon receiving the account number, they will send out an email to the faculty members and let them know, the PI, and let them know what the award account number is. And that includes the award, the project, and tasks. If there's multiple tasks required, we segregate some expenditure types into separate tasks based on indirect cost recovery. And then additionally, those will be copied to chairs and other administrative individuals that have been identified within the unit. So what are some of the common transactions? Well, the award analysts are the ones that can guide the PIs. We help manage, but we don't actually process any kind of financial activity in our office. We're reviewing and approving those activities. So there's the personnel side. IFRs, income funds reimbursable, that's the PI's effort, and any other state faculty or staff that are listed in the proposal. We will process that based on what the proposal was submitted at. So if a PI puts, I'm going to do 10% effort, that's what we're going to process and identify that information. Our payroll, the units and departments are responsible to process those transactions. So please be sure to work with your teams to get your appointments done timely. We do work with UBF payroll on occasion, and then there are some pass-through activities for that for clinical faculty that work with practice plans. We will often have to have a personal service agreement in place to pay for work that the practice plan individuals may have associated on the project. And then fellowships, they are paid through HR, but we do need to review and approve those. Other types of transactions are reimbursements for Concur, that's for travel and non-travel activity, independent contractors, those run through procurement, participant stipends, not the same as human subjects, but participant stipends, where they are either individuals that are covered for training activities or workshops or specific types of activities within an award that is for non-employees and non-academic type of activities. Subject payments, those are the reimbursement or the payments for your clinical subjects or even non-clinical subjects. The P card, the Amex, Blue and EREC, the procurement system, tuition and interdepartment invoices, which that's changed its name recently, but I don't recall what it is, so apologies for that. Just kind of touched on the effort. Remember, when you propose the effort, that's the commitment and part of the terms and conditions of the award. If there's a change in that, sometimes you do need to get prior approval from a sponsor. So you want to work with SPS to ensure that you are processing or that your effort is appropriate for the award, or request that prior approval prior to the award. And there's not a lot in health sciences that are on the academic appointments, but sometimes they are, and if that's the case, they may be eligible to have summer effort. And if that's the case, they're an RF employee, and those are actual appointments outside of your state appointment. Rebudgeting, sometimes there's a need to be rebudget. So our sponsors will often have flexibility in spending. And the rebudgets are really more internal types of rebudgets, like tuition, for instance, is a very typical rebudgeting issue. It will budget tuition for one amount, and the tuition comes in and it's higher. We may need to rebudget some of those funds, or the opposite, rebudget out of tuition to use for other expenditures as necessary. Always recommend that you ask for rebudgets from the sponsor prior to having your expenditures processed. Sometimes that doesn't happen, and sometimes that means that if the sponsor doesn't approve it, that that you're going to be having to find an alternative way to pay for those expenditures that were charged directly to the award prior to the approvals. And you would currently work with the SPS grant administrator, who has the direct line to the sponsor. And of course, as Jeff Bartlett indicated earlier, that he with CFR, they would work with us on those types of requests as well. No cost extensions, anytime that you are gearing to the end of the performance period, as noted in the notice of award. You may determine that you actually need more time to complete the work. So you might ask for a no cost extension. We do have a form that you can use, and most sponsors, federal sponsors specifically, need 60 to 90 days. Other sponsors can be more flexible. We'll work with your SPS contact to make sure that you're processing that on a timely basis. Just a reminder that you don't ask for a no cost extension because there's money left. You ask for a no cost extension to complete the terms of the work that's associated on the project. The terms of the award remains the same during the no cost extension. Some sponsors require additional effort, such as NIH always requires a minimal effort during a no cost extension as well. Other sponsors, so long as you've met your effort commitment, additional effort's not required. And then here are some of the questions that are asked on that no cost extension form. It's really what's your new termination date? What's your anticipated effort for the project? The scientific justification for the extension. The reason there is an unobligated balance. Sometimes it's I couldn't recruit a postdoc. My students, I couldn't find the right student for the project. Things just got backed up because there's interesting things that we've discovered. Plan for the use of the funds during the extension period. We're going to use it to finalize the experiments and work on our publications. And the funds will be used to support minimal PI effort and student salary and fringe, those types of things. UB policies that affect post-award, they're the financial responsibility for sponsored projects, the allowable use of funds, and the graduate student tuition on research awards. There's certainly more, but those are the ones that we run into most often for post-award activity. You have report center, that as soon as you become a PI, you should have access to your accounts and report center. If you do need training, you can reach out to SPS and we'll direct you. We do have nobody in our office, but in our there is a trainer for report center. We can direct you to that individual. We also have a list of our departmental contacts on this form, and so we'll send that out as well to Jill. We'll send this out to Jill so she can share this as well. And then, as I indicated earlier, that reporting is part of the terms and conditions of the award, or part of the deliverables of the terms and conditions of the award. So it's always important that you remain compliant with those reporting. Make sure you're submitting those on time. Some run our PPRs for NIH run through SPS, but many sponsors allow the PIs the ability to directly report to them, but SPS needs to be aware that those have occurred. So when you do have a final report that isn't required to run through SPS, make sure you're tagging us in on those emails or forwarding them to us so we're aware that those reports were submitted and we can do a proper closeout. Any kind of financial reporting needs to come through our office or be vetted through our office. Some sponsors require the progress report and the financial to be submitted at the same time. So we would need to work more closely to align that information. Invention reporting and property reporting is also completed here in SPS, but there is, of course, PI input, especially for the invention reporting to ensure that they agree that there was an invention or wasn't an invention. And then we work with our colleagues in technology transfer to complete those documentation. 9 financial reports. Those are your progress reports. Ensure that you're doing them. We do get emails out to you through Report Center. It's really necessary to get those reports done on time. Not only does it make is it important for your results to be shared with the sponsor, but it also is an institution when a failure to submit those on time can impact your colleagues here at UB and the organization as well. We just had a recent case where a PI was not able to get a no-cost extension because one of his colleagues had been delinquent in reporting, and they would not allow the no-cost extension until the report was submitted. So that certainly can impact you as well as your colleagues.
Mary, do you have
again,
many more? Do you have many more
pardon me?
slides? Because we're a few minutes. Do you have many more slides? Because we're a few minutes over.
No. So I'm just gonna say we'll do the closeout here, the financial closeout, working with our PIs and ensuring that we're compliant with our terms and conditions of the award. All right.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you all.